Christmas was different when I was a child from what it is now. Christmas starts about August now, don't it?
Yes.
Christmas cards in the shops, but and now you buy most of the stuff ready-made, like Christmas puddings and mince pies. You make your own, I dare say, but a lot of people now don't make things, do they? But then everything was homemade, and you couldn't buy the convenience things now that you used to make the foods, could you? I mean, I was thinking about stoning raisins and taking the pips. You don't have to do that now, do you?
No.
Get sun-made,
Yeah.
if you can still get those. I don't do any cooking now, but and we used to make all our own mincemeat, Christmas puddings, cake.
Chop up the big
Everything.
pieces of peel.
And I was thinking about the sugar that was in those large pieces of orange and lemon and lime peel that you used to buy, didn't you? Large pieces, and that lovely crystallised sugar in the middle that I used to like to eat when my mother was cooking and doing all the cooking. And you used to have days of making sausage rolls and mince pies and jam tarts and maids of honour and till all your tins were full. And you didn't have freezers and fridges to keep them in. You had to keep them as best you could in the airtight tins. And we used to have perhaps a cockerel, or we were only 3, so we had a turkey once, but it lasted far too long. I could remember we were eating turkey for ages. But and my mother used to boil a piece of salt beef, and we used to have that for breakfast of all things, and a piece of ham. I remember once we had a large doorway outside our back door, and she used to put things out to cool. And she boiled a large joint of gammon or ham, might have been, I don't know which, and she set it on the back doorstep to cool, and we all went to bed and forgot it. And in the morning, of course, when she looked out of the window and she saw this standing there, she went out to bring it in, and the saucepan was empty. And my dad said it was a dog. She said it was a very clever dog. It took the lid off the saucepan and put it back on. So that was our joint of ham for that year anyway.
I can remember getting my stocking with the nuts and oranges. And the first thing I can remember getting was a mouth organ. I remember getting a mouth organ and playing that and getting in trouble.
Do you remember your mum making Christmas puddings and Christmas cake?
Yes, and cooking them in the copper.
Did you help her get the stones out of the raisins?
Yes, that's the odd thing.
Giving it a stir and making a wish.
Yes. And we couldn't have holidays, kept on back, couldn't have holidays, and suddenly it dawned on us, well, why not go away for Christmas?
Ah, yes.
So we went to Yarmouth for Christmas.
Ah, yes.
And after that, we used to do that each Christmas. That was our holiday. We used to go to Yarmouth for Christmas in a hotel.
Did you go in the van?
Yes, twice. We got a spot prize dancing for that. Who came in something different to a Jaguar and a Rolls Royce and such like. We did a van. Oh, that's yours out there. We knew it was going to someone. And we got spot prize. But that didn't make any difference.
No, but I thought in the old days they used to stay open, the butcher shops stay open until quite late on Christmas.
Oh, they did, yes. I didn't used to leave Littleport till 9 or 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Then drive down there.
Yeah. And you spend Christmas and Boxing Day there.
Yeah.
Open again on
Yes. I couldn't go if it was midweek.
No.
If Christmas Day was on a Thursday, it'd be Christmas Day Thursday and Boxing Day Friday, we had to be in the shop Saturday selling meat, so therefore we had to be in there Friday preparing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always remember my mum used to pay a shilling a week
into the international stores at Ely. They used to come
yes,
and collect
yeah.
it. Yes. And
See, that
every
was a
Christmas,
lot then,
yeah, that was a lot. And every Christmas, just about a week before Christmas, she'd order the things that we wanted. And the oranges and things, you never had an orange or anything, only at Christmas. And they were put in the front room, and we were not allowed to go and touch them at all the stuff. And we used to have just 2 or 3 things, beer, nuts, and orange in our pillowcase. Pillowcase, and just little things that they could afford. It wasn't much.
Did you get a book from Mrs. Spenceley's?
Yeah, and I used to. I had a little tiny doll. It was so small. That was the only doll I ever had. Never had a pram or a bike or anything like that. They just couldn't afford it. No.
Do you have a Christmas tree?
You had no, I don't think we had. No, we didn't have a Christmas
But
tree.
you decorated the place, did
Oh
you?
yes, we used to decorate up. Yeah,
But you make paper chains.
yeah. We used to sit there and make them.
Gluey old things, yeah.
Did you have sort of homemade Christmas puddings, homemade cakes?
Yes,
and things?
Mum used to make those
Yeah.
for us. She's a marvellous cook, you know. Used to make all our bread and everything.
Yeah.
Yes, she was very good at anything like that. She used to cook for us.
Yeah.
It used to be right.
Yeah.
Marvellous. We used to look forward to Christmas because we was
Yeah.
going to get something, you know. It was really
Joyful.
lovely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can remember something else as well. That in the shop that's 4 boys in the street, it used to be kept by Mrs. Spenceley. Do you remember that?
No,
But you've heard of it.
Yes.
Well, she used to have 2 rooms in that shop. It was not as big as it is now. Of course, now it's taken over part of the house that they lived in. But it used to be a room at the front and a room behind it. She used to use the room behind it as a sort of storeroom and office. But at Christmas, she used to empty that of all its stores and whatnot and fill it with toys, books, railway sets, dolls, teddy bears, or every toy you could think of that she'd got there. It was a sort of Aladdin's cave to a child. And we used to be taken round there, and I don't know how they worked it, but you could pick out what you wanted Father Christmas to bring you. It was nothing to do with Mrs. Spenceley. This was Father Christmas, and as a child I believed that, as a little girl. And you used to go round, everybody in the village did it. They used to be taken, if their parents wanted to, they used to be taken there to look round this room and pick out what they would like. You didn't always got what you would like, of course, but Mrs. Spenceley had a line to Father Christmas, you see. That was what I believed. And if I didn't like dolls, it's strange I did the job I did, isn't it? Because I didn't care for dolls at all. I wasn't into dolls. So I never picked a doll, but I usually picked books, I think, or games. I liked games I played with my father, like Ludo and Snakes and Ladders. And I had a game called Halma once, and Snap and Happy Families, that sort of thing. I used to choose things like that. And annuals, you know, schoolgirls' annuals, and the comics annuals that they had. I didn't get everything I wanted by any means, but I used to get something. I think my mother used to point out to my aunts what I'd had my eye on, and Father Christmas bought it for me.